You've already learned that the genitive case can show possession. So, for example, we can have the mater Marci, Marcus's mother. The mother of Marcus. Where Marci is in the genitive. But there are other uses of the genitive. This lesson covers what's called the partitive genitive, or what's sometimes referred to as the part of the whole. And the idea here is that the genitive, the word in the genitive case, is going to represent a collective, a whole, and then the noun that it's attached to, that genitive modifies, is going to be just a part of that whole. So, again, the genitive refers to the whole, and then the noun that it's modifying, the noun that it's connected to, is going to be just a part of that. So, the easiest way to think about this is that it's often, the partitive genitive often is found with the noun pars. So, pars plus the genitive will be translated part of the blank, whatever's in the genitive. So, in the example, pars urbis deleta est, pars here is in the nominative, urbis is the partitive genitive, part of the city was destroyed. So pars is the subject, deleta est is your verb, part of the city was destroyed. Now pars doesn't necessarily have to be in the nominative. We can also see it here in the accusative. I saw vidi partem urbis. I saw part of the city. Now notice, like the first example, urbis is still genitive. It's still the partitive genitive. But here it's modifying partem and accusative. I saw part of the city. Or again, we can find that part in other cases. So, ignis nocet partibus corporum. Here, rather than city, we have body, or bodies, and genitive. Here's the partitive genitive going with partibus. Fire harms parts of the bodies. Right, so here, bodies plural, so parts of the bodies. Or the fire harms parts of the bodies. The partitive genitive modifying partibus. And we can find it with other words other than pars, like multi. Many of this, so multi and the genitive. Now here, you'll have to watch the gender of multi in the case, but we translate multi plus the genitive as many of the blank. So multi virorum absunt, many of the men are absent. So virorum here is our partitive genitive. It's modifying multi. Many of the men are absent. So we have a group of men, and many of them are absent. And multi is masculine because virorum is masculine. But if we had a group of women, as in this case, multi feminarum absunt, many of the women are absent. So feminarum here is our partitive genitive. It's modifying multi. And we have to have it be multi because our group, women, is feminine, and therefore our multi is going to be feminine. So multi feminarum absunt. Or, again, it doesn't necessarily, our noun here, multi or pars, doesn't have to be nominative. Here it's dative. So multis militum imperavit. He commanded many of the soldiers. Militum is genitive. It's the partitive genitive with a form of multis. So many, he commanded many of the soldiers. Now we could have other words too. Pauci, a few. Pauci with the genitive, a few of the, so it's sort of the opposite of multi. Pauci virorum absent, a few of the men are absent. Virorum, our genitive, partitive genitive, with pauci. Pauci having to be masculine because virorum is masculine. And if we had it feminine, paucae feminarum, a few of the women are absent. So feminarum is our partitive genitive. Paucae is our nominative, plural. A few of the women are absent. And like with the others, we don't need to necessarily have it be in the nominative case. We could have, here we have paucis, the dative. I gave, dedi, so dona paucis feminarum dedi. I gave gifts to a few of the women. So feminarum is our partitive genitive, paucis being the dative of which feminarum is connected. All right, so partitive genitive with particular words. We can also use the partitive genitive with superlatives. So maximus regum, for example, and this can work with any superlative. The greatest, the heaviest, the longest of days. Here, maximus regum, for example, the greatest of kings. So maximus regum Romulus erat. The greatest of kings was Romulus. So regum is our partitive genitive. It's the group from which we're going to pick maximus, the greatest. So the greatest of kings. And it does, again, maximus doesn't have to be in the nominative. I know that the greatest of kings was Romulus. And that should be Romulum. So maximum, regum, still in the genitive because it's partitive with the superlative. We could use the gravest, the weightiest of matters. Now notice gravissima, feminine, because rerum, our partitive genitive, is feminine. Remember, race is feminine, so we're going to use the feminine adjective there. So the gravest of matters. Gravissima rerum curae regi est. Here we have a double dative construction. Don't forget about that. So the weightiest of matters is a care for the king. Gravissima being nominative here is the subject, and rerum is the partitive, so the weightiest of matters. Or, again, we don't need to use the nominative. It can be in any case. Negligo, I neglect the weightiest, accusative, of matters. What won't change in all of these is that the genitive, the partitive genitive, will always be genitive. Partitive genitive, remember, will always be in the genitive. So, we can use it with particular words, we can use it with particular adjectives, superlatives. One thing to keep in mind is that the partitive genitive is different from just a simple adjective use. So, multi virorum absunt, many of the men are absent, is a different sentence from multi viri absunt. Here, weary, multi is modifying weary. We don't have a partitive genitive. So, many of the men are absent. And in the second sentence, multi viri absent, many men are absent. It's a slight difference, but it's significant. And we can do the same thing with few. So, paucae feminarum absunt. Few of the women are absent. So we have a group of women, and only a few of them are absent. And in this sentence, paucae feminae, here's our adjective modifying feminae. Few women are absent. So here, we're not looking at a larger group of which we're going to take a few women, as we do in the first sentence here. Here we're just saying simply that a few women are absent. And we can do the same thing with the superlatives. So maximus regum Romulus erat. The greatest of kings was Romulus. This is a different sentence from Romulus was a very great king. So maximus rex Romulus erat. Here, maximus is just an adjective modifying rex. We have no partitive genitive. Now there is one other group of words that commonly take the partitive genitive construction, and these are very idiomatic to Latin. And this is by no means a complete list. It's just a few. But if you get the sense of it, when you encounter the partitive genitive with certain neuter pronouns, certain adjectives, certain adverbs, you have to translate them idiomatically. So here are a couple of examples. Satis. Satis, enough, often takes a genitive. And we don't, it's literally satis, enough of the genitive. But in English, we're going to translate it enough blank. So, satis, habemus satis vini. So, vini, genitive of vinum, wine. There's our partitive with satis. Literally, this would say we have enough of wine. But in English, we wouldn't say that. We would say we have enough wine. And nihil oftentimes takes a genitive. Literally, it's going to be nothing of blank. But we wouldn't say that. We would say no blank. So nihil spei manet. Literally nothing of hope remains. No hope remains. Multum. There's a neuter pronoun, or a neuter pronoun, much, plus the genitive. And oftentimes in English translate this something as a lot of, or much of, a lot of something. So, edo multum panis, I eat multum panis, a lot of bread. Literally, much of bread. But again, in English, we wouldn't say that. It's not idiomatic English. And then a common phrase, just to keep in mind, quid novi, literally, what of new? What's new? Here, novi is our partitive genitive with quid, what. And we could also have something like aliquid plus the genitive, aliquid novi, something new. Literally, something of new. And then one last idiomatic expression, and again, satis nihil multum quid plus. There are others that use this same partitive genitive construction. This is just a small list to give you an idea how it works. Plus the genitive, more of something, or we would just simply say more something. So leones efficiunt plus timoris quam porci. So there's our idea, plus timoris. There's our phrase, timoris is the partitive genitive. Lions bring about more fear than pigs bring about. So plus timoris, literally more of fear, but we wouldn't say that, we would say more fear. So keep in mind that the partitive genitive with words like part, pars, plus the genitive, translate very nicely into English. The superlative translates very nice into English. So the greatest of kings, the mightiest of rivers. But these words, satis, nihil, multum, quid, plus, they do not translate neatly into English. You sort of have to play with the language in order to make it fit. But this is the idiomatic way that Latin would use satis or nihil, or quid or plus the partitive genitive.